Hello friends and welcome back to another episode of CS Mentor. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the importance of studying for your case laws and your section numbers. I get a lot of students who come up to me 1 month before the exam or even 2 months before the exam and they tell me one thing. Ma'am, I have studied, like I know the contents of my section number, I know the contents of my case laws, but I'm not able to actually remember the case law or I'm not able to remember the section number itself. Now, for these students, I have to keep stressing and repeating again and again to them, stating that you have to study the section number, you have to study the names of the case laws. Now, are they important? The answer is yes. But the question really becomes, why are they important? Now, why are they important is for no other reason apart from the fact that there are marks attached to this. When students are presenting their papers, they have to write the answer, but they also have to write it from the point of the section number itself or the case law. If, say, a question is asking for a case law, then you have to write the case law. So, in law papers, section numbers and case laws are the only way to substantiate your answer. And for that reason, that is only the second reason why you are required to write and study both of them. The only way to get marks is to substantiate your answers with the help of case laws and section numbers. So we look at it from the point of view of both. Let's look at section numbers itself. Now, section numbers are easy. You have to study the section number and the law to which they belong. So, let's say, for example, we have section 9 of the Civil Procedure Code. So, this is the section number and this is the law itself. Correct? So, when you have the law and the section number, you simply have to write it like this. Section 9 of the Civil Procedure Code 1908 states that. And you go ahead to write what it's stating. This way, you save time on being direct. You don't have to explain this point of view with extra lines, with extra content, and waste time. By writing the section number, it clearly tells the examiner that the student is aware of the content and is able to write the answer. Now, we are only talking about in the situation where you are unable to remember the section numbers. And so, for this, what I would ask and request students to do is that when you are studying for a particular chapter, take out a separate sheet of paper in your notebook and mark it depending on the chapter that you are studying. So, in this case, I've taken the example of CPC. Okay. With respect to CPC, make a table as you can see in the screen before you and write section number in one column and the particulars in the second column. So when you have section 9, you're talking about the jurisdiction of civil courts. Section 10, res sub judice. Section 11, res judicata. Like this, when you create a table, you keep it aside. And this table will help you massively with respect to revisions. When you are revising for the chapter, you have a table of all your section numbers in one place and you can keep referring back to these section numbers every time you have to study. This makes study easy and it gives you all of maybe 10 to 15 seconds to just scan through different section numbers and to quiz yourself, in what I would call as micro revisions. But is it enough that you read it only once? Okay, once reading is will never work. You have to read it multiple times, multiple revisions. And it gets a little difficult, right? If you have all your section numbers scattered across your entire textbook or your notes, etc. So it would be very good for you to consolidate them in one place and keep referring back to them. When you do multiple revisions of this, I can guarantee you that you will not forget your section numbers. Okay, so this is with respect to section numbers, but how should you approach case laws? Now, the thing with case laws is that we have to look at it from the point of view of how they ask questions relating to case laws. Now, in situation number one, they will ask you a question, say define this or explain this with the help of case laws. So as you can see over here, there is a plural connotation. More than one case law you are required to write. That means for a topic that you are studying, you have to write at least two case laws to substantiate your answer. This is one type of question that can be asked. Or if you look at situation number 3, sometimes they'll ask you a question and they won't ask you for a case law, or there's no reference to a case law in your question itself. So what should you do then? Well, for this we need to analyze the type of question that it is. Now let's say, for example, it's a direct question. Okay, if it's a direct question relating to a theory point and there's no case law attached to it, then you are not required to write the case law. But if the nature of the question is more analytical, wherein they ask you to explain something or they're asking to analyze something, and you can make out the nature of the questions a very indirect question. Okay, it can even be fact-based questions. Now, questions like these, it is compulsory. It is compulsory for you to write the case law to substantiate your answer. So, what should you do? Even if they don't ask you to write case laws, you still have to go ahead and write it. Okay, and we can see this applicable in chapters of Constitution of India. We can see it in, say, evidence law, in your civil procedure code, your criminal laws, okay, and arbitration. So these are some of the chapters where you have a large number of case laws. So it is required for you to study them in a particular way. And similar to how we write our table for section numbers, you can also make a similar table for your case laws. Now, I in this table that I have presented before you, one case law relates to the Constitution of India. The second law also case law also relates to Constitution of India. So what I've done is I've written the name of the case, and next to it I've written the particulars or what is held in that case. Because ultimately in your answer sheet, you only need to write one line, okay, as to what was held by that court. You don't need to give a detailed analysis of what the arguments were, what the considerations were, references to other case laws. No. You only have to write what was held in that case law. And that is what I need you to write in this column. And when you write it like this, similar to how I asked you to prepare for your section numbers, you'll also have all the case laws in one consolidated place. So, when you study it like this, not only will you remember the name of the case law, but you'll also be able to tell what was held in that case law. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more easier for you to study, make sure in between each chapter, insert the topic, okay, or make a separate column and write topic. Okay, and the topic can help you determine how many case laws are there under each, and you can study a minimum of 2 case laws also, and it should be more than enough. Okay, now there's a situation 2, that is, they will ask you a question in relation to one case law, which means your entire 5 mark question or a 4 mark question will all be about just one case law. And so, should you study each and every case law with its facts and with its arguments and what was held? Well, here the answer is no. There are some type of case laws, like, say, for example, Rylance versus Fletcher, where you might have to analyze the full nature of case law before you arrive at your answer. And like this, we have very few case laws spread out across the entire subject, which you might have to go into a little bit of detail. Okay, and so friends, I'm actually doing another video to explain how you should be presenting your case laws for your answers. And in this video I'll be explaining the different type of case laws, how to determine what was held, how to analyze that from your textbooks, and how to actually present it in your answer sheets. So if you haven't pressed the subscribe button already, go ahead and click on that button, because when I upload videos, you will get a notification the minute it is uploaded. All right. So, friends, we're coming down to the end of this video. That is, are case laws and section numbers important? The answer is yes. How can you prepare for them? Make tables like this. And the only way that you can actually finally prepare is multiple revisions. Okay, do revisions, and I don't mean just 2 or 3 or 4. Keep coming back to it, keep revising, keep repeating, mug it up. Practice again and again and again. Close your book, open it, and keep repeating and practicing. This way, there is no way that you will come forward and ask me, ma'am, is it important to study case laws and is it important to study section numbers? Thank you.